transforms and motion in the edit page. You can create motion right in the edit page. You will see how to animate your videos, your text, or some graphics using the inspector and the on-screen controls. With animation, you always have a motion path. I'll show you how to create a smooth animation, no abrupt start or stop motion. That is in and is out. You will also learn how to use the dynamic zoom and how to customize it. I'm sure you will like this option as it makes the videos livelier. You will also learn how to copy clips attribute and how to use them on other clips if you like to. And then you will learn how to compound clips. I'm sure by now you went to the inspector and you inspected very well all the options within the inspector, all the properties. I'm back to my favorite clip here. I will select the transition and hit backspace to delete it because this clip is very good to show you certain examples. Put an in point and out point so we can play it from in and out. Select your clip now. The properties are grouped and each one of them has a certain theme. Like you see now here, it is compositing. We will see about the compositing mode and the opacity. You can, for example, change the opacity of a clip. Here you are. If you think this is wrong, you just click on the arrow over here. It will reset it. But also you can decide, okay, you want this opacity, but for now you don't want to see it. So we'll come to the group over here, the composite, and just put it off. All the settings are still with the same values, but now this group is not operating. Put it back on. If, for example, you did a lot of changes and you want to reset the whole group, you have this circled arrow, then you click on it, everything is reset within the group. Then one major reset is on top over here. It's reset video. It will reset many properties except, for example, the dynamic zoom. This one, it will not reset. Now, the first thing that you want to see is the transform properties. The zoom is like scaling. You can zoom up or down. And notice you have the chain link here. You can remove it. And zoom horizontal or vertical if you want to. I will reset it. You have the position. Actually, we'll use this to animate. You can position the way you would like. For example, if you zoom in, okay, then you can position it over here and down here. Okay, now you have a picture in picture if you like, or something like this. You have the rotation angle. Of course, you can come and rotate it, okay, the way you would like. The rotation angle is affected by the anchor point. Also, the pitch and the yaw, I think this is how it's pronounced, they are affected by the anchor point. For example, if I move a bit the anchor point, just over here, for example, and start rotating left and right, you notice it is no more the same as the previous rotation. So it was at 0. It was over here rotating. If you move on the Y, for example, now, and you rotate, you notice it's rotating on a different anchor point. I will reset the anchor point. I will reset the rotation. You have the pitch. You know exactly what it does now. You can just somehow rotate it in 3D with some distortion. Okay, and you have the yaw. I will reset them. Here you are. I will reset everything, in fact. And then there is the flip. You can flip your clip. Very interesting, very much in use. And you can flip it upside down if you want to. Now, I will reset everything here. On the side of the cropping, you can crop your clip, for example, from top at 200 and the bottom at 200, for example. And then you have the softness. Positive value will soften it to the outside. Negative value will soften it to the inside. We reset everything. The dynamic zoom is very interesting and I really encourage you to come and use it. I'll just put it on. All you have to do is to put it on. For now, it's linear. Let's play the in and out. If you press, you notice how it's dynamically zooming and is very much in use. Let's loop. You notice how it's dynamically zooming. Within the dynamic zoom, you have, of course, the linear. You can ease in or ease out or ease in and out. Here you are. So it's going to become a bit smoother, the zooming. Okay, I think I will take the in point and just drop it here, and the out point, just drop it here. You can swap. So now it's coming from far to near. If you swap it, it will go from near to far. Okay, as simple as this. I will put it off for now. And then here you have the retime and scaling. We have seen that before. You can set it from the project, is much better. I hope this was a short overview just to remind you how to work with the properties in the inspector. In the next lecture, we are going to use the keyframes and start animating. Since we had a complete review about the inspector, let's start using the keyframes over here and start animating. This is the easiest way to do simple animation within the edit page. Later on, you will go to the Fusion and things will become a bit more complicated, or you will use it for complicated animation. Let's start animating the position on the X and Y. So let's say after 1 second, so I will use Shift right arrow to jump 1 second. And then at 1 second, I want the position to be just over here. So I will click on the keyframe and a keyframe is created. Notice I'm on top of the keyframe now, it's red. You also notice that in the clip here, you already have access to the curves and the keyframe editor. Let's go back to the first frame of the clip. I press semicolon and click and drag and move the clip just like this. Okay, so obviously it's gonna be at minus 1280 because our video is 1280 by 720. So now I have a very simple animation where the clip is coming from the outside. As simple as this. Alt / or Option / to play between the in and out point. Here you are, very simple animation. Now let's open the keyframe editor. I will click on the diamond. Now we can see that the transform has been animated. This is the transform over here, and something in the transform has been animated, and we can see the keyframe. If you want to see what's animated, you come to the arrow just on the right side of the clip next to transform, and if you turn it down, now you notice it says position. That's what has been animated. Let's come back to this keyframe. You can use the keyframe navigator over here on the position. You can see it's animated. I will go to the previous keyframe or the next keyframe. I'm there. I'm going to keyframe the opacity now. At the first frame, I can use the keyframe navigator again, put it at 0. Okay. So now notice I have two animation now, one with the opacity and one with the position. If I play, here you are. It's quite cool, by the way. So if you want to see in the composite what has been animated, you scroll down and you can see this is the opacity. Now this is pretty cool. Let's go to the next keyframe just over here and keyframe the zoom. Okay, so we're keyframing the X and the Y zoom. In the keyframe editor, you notice zoom X and zoom Y has been keyframed because there is the chain link. Let's go back to the previous keyframe. Here you are, and put the zoom to 0, for example. Let's play the clip now. Here you are, pretty cool. Okay, guys? So you notice you're creating a very nice transition. But of course, you can do much more than that later on. So now this is how to work with the keyframe editor. More keyframes you add, if you do a rotation, they will appear over here. You have your right arrow to turn them up or down. Let's go to the graph editor now. Let's press shift and go up a bit. Now over here, I can see several graphs. I hope you can see them. There is the opacity. If I point on it, I can click and select it. And you know the trick now, you just select it and make it an easy out if you like. Something like this. And then I can pick the other one, the position. And then I have here the zoom Y. And select the keyframe, can ease. Let's go now to the zoom X. Of course, zoom X is on top of zoom Y. So if you come here and remove zoom Y, you are going to have the zoom X. You notice I clicked on it already. And you notice it is already eased out exactly like the zoom out. So this is the graph. It's actually pretty easy to use. And you can see all the positions if you like, something like this. Okay, so you have all the graphs here and you can work on them. Now, if I play, here you are. We did some nice animation. It's a nice transition. You know, this guys has been very easy to use now. The keyframe, the inspector, add all your keyframes and animate the way you'd like. Now we've been using the inspector and keyframing inside the inspector to create some animation, and by changing the numbers just over here. We could have done it also for the cropping. Now there are on-screen controls that will help you design even better. They are more visual. I'll close the FX library, twirl down the inspector, so we have this guy in the middle. That's what I like. And I'm gonna reset the clip. So first of all, I'm come over and reset video, and notice exactly what hasn't been reset. If I play it now, okay, I'll scrub through, it has been reset at 100%. The on-screen controls are just over here. If you twirl down this arrow, you will notice you have transform, crop, dynamic zoom, and OpenFX overlays, and you can put some annotation on the clip if you like. You notice how it's grayed out. If I point and click on it, it will highlight, and a binding box will appear that will allow you to create visually on the transform over here. So for example, you can stretch it now. You notice how the zoom X is changing, and then you can stretch it from top also. Okay, that will be now the zoom Y working. You can also click on the corner and make it smaller. Okay, stretching in so that the zoom X and zoom Y together. And also, if you like, you have this bar over here. If you click on the top circle, you can just click and drag, and you can see how it's rotating, and you can notice in the inspector here the rotation is working. You can also click in the middle here and just move it the way you would like, left and right, up and down, and you notice that you are changing the coordinates of the position. We had created a nice animation. Let's recreate it. The way I work is a very simplistic way, but very efficient. So I want to work with the transform. So I have them visually open. So I will adjust first of all the timeline. I go shift right arrow for 1 second, come to the transform of the inspector and click on the top keyframe. Now I keyframed everything. Can care less. If I don't want to work with them, I just make sure they don't appear in the graphs over here. Then we go back to the first frame of the clip and I start working just like this. Okay, I make it smaller. And then I will take it from here and just move it backward. Okay, so it's really very easy and it's very visual. Now this red line is the motion path. It is the path on which the clip is going to travel. Now if you come over here and Alt / or Option /, here you are, I created the exact animation. Unfortunately, opacity is not visual, can't use it over here. Then I can go back, for example, to the previous keyframe and keyframe the opacity over here. Come to the beginning, that semicolon, put it at 0. And here I replicated the animation we have done in the previous lecture. We have used the inspector and we have used also the on-screen controls. Now you can also have the crop if you like. Okay. So you can crop the way you would like. That is very visual. Just like this. So we're messing around now because our clip is animated. Let's say this is the crop. Very visually, you have used the crop. And you can play your animation, of course. Now it's a bit funny. Now, if you don't want to see the binding box, all you have to do is just click on it. Goes gray. You don't see the binding box. I prefer always to come back to transform and even put it off. So actually, this is how you use the on-screen controls. They are very easy in conjunction with the inspector to keyframe and create your animation. Now, what I'm giving you here is very simple. Actually, it's simplistic. But imagine what you can do when you have certain presentation, the opening of your video. You can put few clips over here, put the title in the middle, animate them and stories, without having to go to programs such as After Effects. You can do them just from here. I hope this was extremely useful. I encourage you a lot to play with your videos with the on-screen controls and the inspector and do lots of keyframing and animation. Let's talk a bit about this red line, the motion path, and what you can do with it and how you can create an ease out, ease in, or ease in and out so you have a very smooth animation on the motion path. Firstly, I'm gonna come to the opacity next keyframe when it's 100 and take it down to something like this. Okay, so we have very clear visibility for you guys. Now, the motion path is composed of 2 keyframes, okay, because we have 2 keyframes in the timeline. And we have these small points here, or dots if you like. These represent frames. So when the playhead is playing from one frame to the other, the video is moving from one frame to another on the dots over here. Very easy concept. Don't worry even about it. You remember, guys, when I pressed Shift C and went to the Y position. This is the Y position over here. I did not click on the keyframe and came to smoothen it. It doesn't work from here. How does it work? You come over to one of the keyframes and simply right click and you have smooth. Here you are. So it has smoothened the keyframe. You can see it in the graph. And then you have a white bar that has been created. This white bar has two controls, the outer one and the middle one, or the inner one. The outer one, if you click on it and move it, it changes the shape of the motion path. So now it's moving from this keyframe going down and up. I will scrub through to show you. Here you are. Your video is moving on the motion path. Now you can do the same for the other keyframe. We have only two here. We right click and smoothen it. As soon as you smoothen it, because we played a bit with the bars, then it's gonna give you a funny loop somewhere or some funny attitude. Doesn't really matter. Just click on the outer dot and just move it around to create a smooth motion path the way you would like. Okay, I'm gonna do it just like this. Now, if you play your video, here you are, you notice how the video is moving on the motion path. So this is about adjusting the motion path the way you would like. And here you are, you can do it, for example, just like this. Okay, whatever you like, you can extend it and so on. I'm gonna come over to here and just put it back to linear. And I'm gonna work only with this one to show you how to create an ease in. Meaning it's gonna come at a certain speed, and when it gets nearer to this keyframe, it's gonna go slowly. Let's click on the small dot inside, or the inner one, and then take it outside. You notice now the space in between the frames, or the white dots, you notice has been increased. Meaning it's gonna take less frames to jump to this keyframe. So actually this is not an ease in, this is a speed in if you like. But now if you click again and drag it towards the inside, okay, of course it doesn't go left and right, it's just on the line. You notice how the space in between the frames is becoming smaller, which means to cross this distance is gonna take more time. And that's how you create an ease in using the motion path. Now, if you play the animation from in and out, notice how it's gonna ease in very slowly. Okay, very cool. Click on it, stop it, and right click and say make it linear. And this one also, I think we did it linear. And come back here, right click and say smooth it. I'm not gonna move the outer one. I'm gonna click on the inner one and just drag it over here. And if you play your animation now, you have a very nice ease in and very beautiful animation. So actually, if you take note, it's very easy. Just right click on the keyframe, make it smooth. Now you can hold it and move the path to create it the way you would like. And you can come to the inner one and just make it, left and right to create an ease in or a speed in if you like. Let's create a speed in and leave it there. Okay, that's the maximum I can go. Here you are. That's what's happening. Up. It's gonna be speedier to come in. I hope this was very fun, and I hope you play with your motion path. Don't worry, in your video editing, sometimes it's gonna be very important to create your famous transitions and your famous, for example, intros and outros. Let's focus in this lecture on the dynamic zoom. I'm sure you already know how it works and what it does. But in this lecture, I'm going to show you how also to customize it. And it's pretty easy, by the way, and lots of fun. When you put on the dynamic zoom, you will notice that you already have a zoom in. And then if you scrub through, you will notice that it's zooming out. That's one way the dynamic zoom works. Or you can swap it. Then start by the original zoom, zoom 0, and then it zooms in. Okay? So the zooming is cool. It's not bad. You can use it as default. It can do lots of work for you, mainly if you're doing slides or something like this. But then you can customize it. I will reset it from here. Okay, so we go back to the original where we are zooming in. And to customize it, you come to the on-screen controls, and I'm sure you have seen dynamic zoom over here. So you have now two binding boxes. The green one is your starting zoom. This is on the first frame. And then the red one is your ending zoom. So you're going to zoom out from the green to the red in this case. Okay, here you are. If you scrub through, you notice it is not working. It's not zooming in and out. This is because when you have the controls on, the object of the binding box is to show you what you are going to crop from your clip, and this is very important. So you know exactly what's going to be cropped, mainly at the beginning and at the end also. So if you come over here and you want to change that, you can change the start zoom. For example, you click just on the corner and you change the start zoom. Okay, now you want to scrub through to see exactly how much you cut from his feet and his neck. Okay, it can work, not bad, not really. Let's see exactly how it's going to happen. Now, to be able to preview your customization, you have to play the clip. I press Alt / to play between the in and out. Here you are. So that's it, it cuts. Yes, it's zooming out, and by the end we are at the maximum zoom. Now you can come over and change the last state of the zoom. For example, we do it like this if you like, and then let's play it. Now the last state is going to be a bit smaller. It has a zoom in. Here you are. If you swap now, it's just the other way around. You start from the green. You can start from over here. And let's end up something funny, for example, just over here, see what happens. And let's play between in and out point. So notice how it's zooming in. Mind you, when you will render this video, the quality will be much better than the viewer here. Now that you made some changes and you don't want these changes, all you have to do is to come to the dynamic zoom over here and click to reset it. That's it. And it's reset at its normal state. So actually, this is all about the dynamic zoom and the on-screen controls, and I hope you will have a lot of fun with it. Notice that if your video is centered on a subject over here, or you have put even your graphical logo on this clip, you can now zoom in towards your logo or towards the subject, whatever you have. So there are a lot of applications for this dynamic zoom. This is a very useful tip I'm going to give you here, and I hope you keep it in mind and use it. Do you remember, guys, that we have done a certain animation over here? Actually, what we have done is in our clip, we have changed and keyframed the attributes or the properties within the inspector here. So this clip now is holding different kind of attributes. These are called attributes when they become specific to this clip. There is a way to copy these attributes and paste them, for example, on a destination clip. How do you do that? First of all, you can press Ctrl+C or Command+C on the Mac. Now, it's true you have copied all the clip, but within Resolve, it has also copied all the attributes from the inspector. Then you can come to a destination clip, right-click, and go to Paste Attributes. Okay? So it gives you a whole panel here about what you want to copy and how you want to copy it. First thing, there is from, to, and the name of the clips. Then there is something about the keyframes. You can maintain the timing or to stretch to fit. For now, I'm gonna go for maintain timing, which will keep the timing in between keyframes. And then you can decide on the attributes you want to copy. If you look at the attributes over here, they are exactly the same as in composite, transform, and cropping. There is no dynamic zoom, and the retime and scaling is not really an attribute here, is a setting. Or if you like, you can go precise. You say, okay, I want to copy opacity, I want to copy position, I want to copy the zoom with the X and Y scale, and that's all I want. And you press apply, as simple as this. Okay. Now, if you notice, you have the exact same attributes that have been pasted, hence you have the same exact animation. Okay, guys, it's pretty cool, by the way. Let's play it from here. We stop, we play again. You notice exactly the same. Now, I will undo this. Okay, I will come over here to make sure I'm undoing. I can see that these are reset. Here you are. Take back this one. And then right click and go to paste attribute. But now I want to use the stretch to fit. When you select this property, it will take in consideration the duration of the original clip and the destination clip, and will stretch the distance in between the keyframes to fit the new duration. Since the original clip is shorter than the destination clip, of course, you are going to have more time in between keyframes. That's the purpose of stretch to fit, which is very useful. And I click apply. Now you notice here, if I stretch it, the duration of the animation is much longer. So it's taking in consideration the length of this clip. And that's it, as easy as this. So it's copy, paste attribute. If you come over here, for example, and right click and say paste attribute and use stretch, it's gonna work. Notice, if I play it, first of all, I'm gonna press X to put the in and out point and just play it. You notice now it's much faster, of course. Let's loop it. Here you are. So it takes in consideration the length of the clip itself. Okay, I'm gonna undo again. And this is the method to copy the major attribute in the inspector from one clip to another clip. This method also, you can use it in some other properties that we'll see later on. I hope this was very useful and keep it in mind. Your assignment for this section, guys, is to create an intro for your video. Place, resize, and animate 3 or even 4 clips if you like. There are no rules on which clip to use. You can use any combination of clips you want. And of course, add some text and try your hand on the fader. To simplify the workflow, first work on a single clip and use the paste attribute option with the right attributes, of course. In the next lecture, you will find a tutorial demonstrating how this intro can be achieved. This will be one way, there are many other ways. But please, before you jump to the tutorial, try your best to complete this assignment. I am sure you will do a great job. And remember, if you create an awesome intro, upload it to any social media of your choice. So jump to Resolve 15 and start creating your intro. This is the tutorial for the assignment from the previous lecture. But I really hope, guys, that at least you try to do your assignment before jumping to this lecture. It's very important that you try. It doesn't matter if it has worked at 100%. As long as you tried to do the assignment, it's okay. It's like you have achieved it. And your goodwill is very important to become a top-notch video editor in Resolve 15. So let's start the assignment. I need to insert the first clip just at the first frame of the timeline. To do this, there are very many ways. The simplest way is to copy a clip. For example, this one I like. I'm going to press Ctrl+C. If you are on Mac, it will be Command-C. And then, since the playhead is just at the beginning here, I can make sure by pressing Home. I press Ctrl+Shift+V. If you are on the Mac, it will be Command-Shift+V to do a paste insert. Now notice it came on V2. That's no problem. I just click and drag and drop it down. Let's get another clip. For example, this one. Now there is really no need for you to do copy-paste. You can just click on it, press Alt. On the Mac, it will be Option, and then just drag it over here. Okay, fine. Let's do like this. Now, let's select the third clip. For example, this clip over here. I press Alt, take it up, and then bring it over here. So I'm going to select the last clip over here. Put the playhead in the middle and press X to mark the clip in and out. I will zoom in. And you notice the clips here are not on the same timing. I will go to the last frame of the biggest clip, that's what I want, and simply use the 2 clips here, press Ctrl+R, and just retime them. Okay, simple, not much. I don't care much about it because it's just a demo. You can work on them if you like, but this is okay. Now to continue working, I will work on a single clip. I will resize it and animate it, then replicate the attribute. That's all. Then I will put off these two so I can see this clip alone. Then resize it. You notice the on-screen controls are on. I will click and resize it just like this. I think this is cool. Put it over here. Maybe I'll make it a bit smaller. That's cool. Over here. So now I want to animate it. That's very easy. Select the clip. Come to the zoom over here. Let's say after 1 second. So I will go to the beginning of the clip. Then shift right arrow. That's 1 second. I'm going to keyframe the zoom. Okay, then go to the beginning here. I can just click and drag, put the zoom at 0. Here you are. Now I have a very simple animation, right, guys? Then I'm gonna go Shift-C. Here you are. I have the keyframe here. I'll click on it and give it a nice ease out. Now the animation is even nicer. Here you are. Yep, pretty cool. So actually I have done the animation here and it's ready to be replicated. Is there anything you would like to put, for example, I don't know, move it left and right, something like this, but that's cool for me. Gonna right click and say copy. And before I start pasting, what I want to check is the dynamic zoom. Let's put on this one and let's stretch it down. You notice that the stretching here is wrong because somehow the clip or the video is bigger than the binding box. That means there is a dynamic zoom somewhere. So I will remove the dynamic zoom. Now I'm okay. Now I'll put on the second clip. Okay, this one is cool. There is no dynamic zoom. Select both of them, right click, paste attribute or Alt V if you like. I'm not going to select everything here. I'll remove them. All I want is the zoom itself. So it will stretch it down and also it will paste the animation. Of course, no stretch to fit, just maintain timing. I'll click apply. Here you are. So we have the three of them. Let's select the top one. Okay, it's this one. I'm going to just click and drag it and put it here. And then the middle one, just click and drag and just put it over here. Okay, align them as best as you can see. That's okay. Come to the upper one. I think they are very well aligned. If you want to know if they are aligned, that's very easy. Select the lower clip. That will be this one. And go up here and check the Y. So it's 182. Let's make it 180, as simple as this. The upper one, this one, I'm going to put here 180. So they are 100% aligned on the horizontal. If you run my little thing here, is very nice. They are growing very nicely. Let's add some text. We go to the FX library. I'm going to use a very simple text. I will go to titles. And here I'm going to use a text. Just click and drag and drop it here. As simple as this. Very easy, guys. We studied all this. I'm going to stretch it. I'm going to write DaVinci. Here you are. Resolve 15. And on the bottom line here, I'm going to write video editing. Okay, feel free to write what you like. I'm going to select all of them. That's what I usually do. And come to the font here. Let's choose Calibri. I'm sure you all have this font. Now notice I have here the on-screen controls, open, so I can stretch it down as simple as this. Click on it and just put it over here. Okay, it's a bit small, so I'm gonna make it bigger. Okay, and of course I want to center it, by the way. Yes, that's much nicer. Let's put it here. I can just simply use the fader. Here you are. Fader just like this. Let's try our animation and the whole clip, the intro. Okay, let it render a bit. It goes blue over here, you will notice. Let's loop it and we play again. Actually, it's done. As simple as this. It has taken time to explain to you. It has taken 8 minutes, for example, or 10 minutes to explain to you. But actually, it's so easy. By the way, if you want to preview it in full screen, you can come to Workspace and you have Viewer Mode, say Cinema Viewer, Control F. Control F or Command F on the Mac. Press Home and Alt /. Here you are. Okay, it's pretty cool now. You have your full assignment and you have your intro for your jumping video. And it's going to be very cool when you start adding some effects, some background and stories like this. This is very easy. It's very simple. And I hope you go back to your assignment if you haven't done it and redo it without going step by step with me. In DaVinci Resolve, you have the possibility to group clips into a single clip. And that's a very powerful option. Let me show you. If you select all your clips here, these 4 clips that are forming our intro, and you right click, you have the option to create a new compound clip. So all these clips will become only one clip. Then you have new compound clip, and then you can put a name. For example, I'll call it intro. And then click create. A new clip has been created and it's on V2 here. I will just put it on V1. Come over and right click and say delete empty tracks. So I removed all the empty tracks. Now I have a single clip that compromise of all the 3 clips and the text that I put inside here. Now, if I want to edit this clip, it's very easy. You just right click and go to Open in Timeline. So there is a kind of timeline here. If you come to your media pool and go to timelines, you notice there is no such timeline called intro. Actually, if I go to master, this is where I was, you notice that I have a new clip called intro. And it will open over here and you can do any adjustment that you would like to do. What I like doing here is to come over and say add a bin and call it compound. And then come to the master, and wherever I know I have a compound clip, I will click and drag and put it in the bin compound. Here you are. So now I have my first compound clip. Now you can do all the modification you want. For example, let's remove the fader. Okay, if you come back over here, you notice that it has worked already. It's automatic. So I'll go back to the intro and put back the fader almost the way it was. But in case you don't want that, you decided, okay, I don't want a compound clip. You can right click and go decompose in place. Here you are. Now it will decompose. Of course, it messed up a bit your timeline because it opened the 4 tracks upward and shifted all the other tracks. If you notice, Shift Z. Okay, you can adjust that. That's no problem. It's very easy, in fact, to adjust. Now, if you want to come back to the compound, if you right click and say new compound clip, you're creating another compound clip, guys. So you don't do that. What you do is select your clips and backspace you delete. You bring the one from the compound and you put it just over here. Okay, let me put it here. Come back and down. Okay, so now it's working very fine. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next lecture.